Chapter 6. 2 mornings later, Jamie Johnson is in my driveway, stretching his arms overhead in the dawn twilight. He must live nearby, since I don't see a car. I nod hello before putting Seema down and whispering at my prayer tree. Joining him in the driveway, I take in an eyeful of my new soup buddy. The guy is all lean muscles and ligaments stretched over bones. He has no body fat whatsoever. We are the same height, but I outweigh him by a good 30 pounds. Even more on puffy days. As I size Jamie up, I imagine him doing the same to me. Tall, sturdy chick, ginormous ass, ghostly white skin, wide mouth, big nose, and, what cruel irony, small tits. I fight an urge to shout back that I'm powerful on defense, I'm smart, and I don't ever give up. He interrupts my internal dialogue. You ever run with your brother? Sometimes, I say, beginning my side stretches. He and his friends go a lot faster than my normal pace. I leave out the part about Levi's impatience with my warm-up routine. You're really close to your brother. Jamie squats and stretches one leg to the side. I suppose. Sometimes he's a pain. I stare at the taut gracilis muscle of his inner thigh, how it forms a direct line into his loose shorts. I force myself to reestablish eye contact. Do you have any siblings? No siblings, just my uncle. My parents divorced when I was little. They aren't into hockey. Uncle Ron's always helped pay for my gear and travel teams. When he got a teaching job here, I took him up on his offer to do my senior year in the Sioux. He looks pleased getting the town nickname right. I catch myself mirroring his proud smile as I go through a quick version of my warm-up. Jamie matches his stretches to mine. Ready, buddy? I jet my chin and lips toward the road. Yes, Ambassador. The smile hasn't left his face. I take my normal route through campus. Hey, look, Jamie says when we pass the new dorm. It's got your last name on it. Yep. He laughs. That's all you got to say? Yep. I flash my cheesiest smile. When we reach the overlook behind the student union, I stop. Hold up, I say. Jamie walks back a few steps to stand next to me. Over there, a few miles away, is Lake Superior. I point to the west before following the river. It feeds the St. Mary's River, which is the international border with Canada. The city on the other side is also called Sault Ste. Marie, but it's a lot bigger than our town. I end with another game show hostess flourish. Something about Jamie makes me want to show off. The river curves around the east end of town, and those pretty hills are part of Sugar Island. That's where my dad's family is from. Mine and Levi's, I mean. Wow, it's beautiful. The awe in his voice makes me feel the same as when I ace a quiz. Ready? I ask, easing back into our pace. We follow the road from the bluff to the river a half-mile away. Jamie watches a freighter moving slowly and quietly into the nearest lock. As he observes the long ship, I sneak a look at his profile, the side of his face that isn't scarred. The freighter blasts its horn 50 feet from us. Startled, Jamie swears loudly. I laugh. I'm gonna need my ambassador to explain all this, he says. Remember when I pointed to Lake Superior? 5 minutes ago, he says dryly. Yes, smart ass. So, ships pass by on their way to or from the other Great Lakes to reach Lake Superior, which is 20-something feet higher than everything downriver. There used to be rapids here. It was a major gathering spot for the Anishinaabe, with fishing villages on both sides of the river and on Sugar Island. The government took over the area and cut through the rapids to build the Sioux locks, which work like a water elevator to raise or lower the ships. Jamie's eyes are on me instead of the freighter across the street. What happened to all the Anishinaabe people in their villages? I raise an eyebrow. I'm not sure if Jamie knows what a big question he's asked. Tourists, like Jamie, never think about the ones who got pushed aside for progress. I don't know if he really wants to know my tribe's history, or how I'd even begin to tell him. That's a story for another time, I say. Now, it's your turn to talk. Tell me about you. That's a story for another time, he says, grinning. I have more questions. I smile back. How did I get stuck with the most curious one of yous? What's the deal with yous? Jamie asks. I laugh. That's the most important question. Yous is the Yooper version of y'all. And Yooper means a person from the UP, or Upper Peninsula. Wow, I got the smart buddy. I point for us to take the next turn. We fall easily into a comfortable silence that lasts for a few miles. When we turn by the Dairy Queen, he gestures toward a small house. That's where my uncle and I live, he says, continuing to run beside me. Oh, one more question. When people say Anishinaabe, do they mean native or Ojibwe? Anishinaabe means the original people, indigenous, Nish, Nishnab, Shinab. Mostly we're referring to Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi tribes from the Great Lakes area. Ojibwe language is called Anishinaabe-Moan, or Ojibwe-Moan. Levi calls it Ojiberish. I roll my eyes. If you hang with him long enough, he'll give you a Nish nickname. Jamie quickly looks my way. Levi said to ask you how to say Scarface in the language. We burst into laughter at the same time. I inhale some spit and have to stop for a coughing fit. Once we catch our breath, I motion toward Evercare, surprised at how quickly the miles flew by with Jamie. I end my run at that nursing home. My grandmother's there. She had a stroke. I'm sorry, he says. That's a lot to deal with after losing your uncle, too. How are you coping, Donis? The directness startles me. Something about the way he asks makes me wonder if he might be familiar with loss, too. Other than Lily, no one really asks how I'm doing. People ask about Mom, or what will happen with the big house. It's odd to have the person who has known me the least amount of time ask how I'm doing, and in such a genuine way. It's okay, Jamie says as I fumble for words. Tell me when you're ready. By the time we reach the parking lot, I still have no answer. I look over at Jamie. His skin glistens like a shiny penny, smooth and new. His hair is damp with sweat, the curls going in every direction. My thoughts about Jamie go in every direction as well. Regular world needs some hockey world rules, I decide. Miigwech for the run, buddy, I say. Tomorrow, it's your turn. You can tell me about your last hockey team, your last school, your uncle, and your girlfriend, hey? Jamie smiles, gives a thumbs up, and jogs away. I call Lily while walking home from Evercare. After I fill her in on my run with Jamie, she and I try guessing what he might reveal about his girlfriend. Car accident, Lily declares. They bonded over their scars. Nah, Auntie says his scar is too straight to be accidental. Her ex-boyfriend cut Jamie in a jealous rage, she says. Holy, not every relationship is a drama shit show, I say. Well, all the ones I've seen are. We are silent for half a block. I hear Granny's dog barking on the other end. Lily doesn't say much about her mom or her life before coming to live with Granny June, but sometimes she'll take Mom's side when I gripe about the overprotective stuff. Lily finally says, Okay, Fancy Nancy Drew, what's your hypotenuse? The smile in her voice is contagious. My hypothesis is that they lost their virginity together, I say, breaking into a wide grin. By the way, a hypotenuse is the long side of a right triangle. Whatever, she says as she heads off. Later, Gator. After a while, Crocodilus Noloticus. Geek. It rains hard the next morning, so I text an alternate plan to Jamie before dawn. He swings by in a black pickup truck, and we go to the fitness center at Shimukwa. I don't like running indoors, but it's better than going through the day feeling like something's off. We hop on our treadmills, and, a minute in, I notice that Jamie's settings are the same as mine. You know, you don't have to keep pace with me, I say. That's the upside of running on a treadmill. Go as fast as you want. Nah, it's good. I still have practice and conditioning with the team later, Jamie says. I shrug and keep running, but secretly, I'm pleased. It takes 2 miles for me to find my rhythm. That's the downside of a treadmill, right up there with feeling like a hamster on a wheel. You're quiet today, Jamie says. Everything okay? I was waiting for you to talk. Remember? It's your turn. Ah, that's right, he says. Well, what do you want to know? I want to know everything. My prayer this morning, though, was for Manad Dedendomoin. Respect. Respect for relationships. My ambassador thing with Jamie and his relationship with his girlfriend. I won't be a wannabe anglerfish trying to latch on to a guy who is already taken. Whatever you want to tell me, buddy. Well, ambassador, I was born on a dark and stormy night. I look over to see his full smile tugging the bottom of his scar. I don't like talking about myself, I guess, Jamie says. My dad's Cherokee. Him and my mom got divorced when I was little. She and I moved around a lot. He got a new family. Uncle Ron checked on me more than my dad. I played hockey all over. That's it. Jamie's background is kind of like mine. Native dad, parents not together, and an uncle who stepped in because his own dad wasn't around anymore. Maybe that explains why it feels easy to be around him. And you figure skate, I say. You left that part out. How do you know that? I feel Jamie eyeballing me. I don't know. The way you lifted Pauline the other day. I shrug again and I feel a painful twinge in my shoulder. My grandmother, the one I called Grand Mary, she made me do figure skating for a few years. I hated it, but it was the only way she let me play hockey. What about your mom? Didn't she have a say? You never knew Grand Mary. She was like Eta Carini, and my mom and I were like wobbly planets sucked into her gravitational pull. Eta Carini? Jamie asks. The largest star in the galaxy, I say quietly. Something sinks inside me as I realize I use the past tense about someone who is still alive. I increase my pace setting. Jamie seems to sense the shift and cranks up his setting too, quietly keeping pace. We go silent for the rest of the run. On the drive home, I ask Jamie to drop me off at Evercare. But it's still coming down. He gestures at the frantic wiper blades. I won't melt. I open the truck door and steel myself for the sprint to the building. I glance over to him. Thanks for the run and the ride, buddy. You're welcome, Ambassador. I kiss Grand Mary before applying her red lipstick. Mom hasn't arrived yet, so I retrieve the Blink notebook from the top shelf in the small closet. Settling into the chair beside her bed, I talk to my grandmother, pausing to make tally marks in the 2 columns. Light bulb on and light bulb off. She seems tired today. I stay only for the 15-minute data collection session. When I leave, Jamie's pickup truck is still in the parking lot. You didn't need to wait, I say, climbing in, surprised yet grateful. He says, mimicking me. I wanted to. As Jamie pulls into my driveway, I remember the girlfriend. She needs to be real to me. You didn't say anything about your last town or team or your girlfriend. My girlfriend's name is Jennifer. Jen, he says. I try to imagine her, but all I see is a cool girl with long, shiny hair and a long side bang over her left eye like the late singer Aaliyah. We've been together for 3 years. Her dad's military, so she moves all the time too. I should feel happy for Jamie, having a girlfriend who understands being the new kid in school. It's just nice to have something solid no matter how much everything else changes. Know what I mean? I nod, though I don't know what Jamie means. Ever since Uncle David died, nothing's felt solid. Even before he went missing, my uncle began acting strange, distant. We found out about his relapse afterward. The last time my life felt solid was Christmas? Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning. And Jamie? Jamie Gwitch. Big thank you. I say it to cover everything. The ride and telling me stuff about himself, even though he has difficulty sharing details about his life. You're welcome, Donis. I don't understand why I'm jealous of a girl who can relate to the closed-off parts of Jamie. By Friday, the line between hockey world and regular world has blurred as if drawn in charcoal pencil that Jamie smudges a little more with each morning we run together. I wake up, brush my teeth, pull my hair into a thick ponytail, throw on running clothes, and grab a pinch of Sema from Grandma Pearl's birch bark basket at the entry table. Jamie is always in my driveway when I whisper my morning prayer. Then we do our warm-up and hit the road. When we pass the row of gift shops across from the Sioux Locks, I smile at a memory. Levi sold sweetgrass to tourists here when he was little, I say. What's sweetgrass? It's one of our traditional medicines that smells really good, like a mellow, sweet spice. In Ojibwe, it's called wingashk, and in science, it's called Hieroclo odorata. There'll be some for sale at the tribe's powwow this weekend. I've never been to a powwow. Are you going tomorrow? Can you show me around? Sure, I say, surprised at his eagerness. I remind myself that he hasn't grown up around his tribe like I have. How about an ambassador-guided powwow experience? That'd be fantastic, he says with a grin. I have to force myself not to grin back. So, Levi sold sweetgrass to tourists? Yup, he and our friend Travis picked and braided it. Levi told people he was descended from a powerful chief and a medicine woman. He claimed that his sweetgrass was magical. You know, that hokey stuff tourists like to believe? I roll my eyes. That sounds like Levi, Jamie laughs. Natural businessmen. I'm sure Stormy was in on it too. Those two are trouble. Stormy Noden is Levi's best friend since their tribal Head Start preschool days. He made the team, along with Jamie, after bombing at Soup's tryouts last year. True, Stormy's mom was in jail at the time for fighting some Zuganash guy at a bar downtown, but hockey doesn't give a rat's ass about your personal problems. Nah, Stormy's dad didn't want him collecting medicines with people outside the family. His dad is kind of scary. Like, it's not just Zuganash that he doesn't want to be around. Even some tribal members don't make the cut with Mr. Noden. They only did it for a couple of summers, though. Then the casino opened and per capita started. I heard some guys on the team talking about it. Tribal members get money from the casino? That's kind of crazy. Jamie shakes his head in disbelief. I stiffen. It's no different than Walmart or Ford paying dividends to shareholders. I keep my voice smooth while awaiting Jamie's reaction, hoping he won't reveal himself to be a jerk. Wow, I never thought of it that way, he says. I feel my shoulders relax. Can I ask how much? Or is that rude? It's okay, I say. I've heard Levi blab that adult members get $36,000 a year. Not sure how much it is after taxes. Kids who are tribal members get a third of that amount. Don't you get it? Jamie sounds confused. I'm not enrolled. My dad's not listed on my birth certificate, one of many decisions that my Fontaine grandparents made because my mom was only 16 when she had me. Jamie must have heard the shift in my tone because he pauses and asks, "Are you okay talking about this, Donis?" "Yes," I say, realizing my ease at sharing about myself. Maybe not everything, though. I'm not ready to admit how angry I feel over their decision that affected my tribal enrollment. "It's hard when being Native means different things depending on who's asking and why," he says. "And to some people, you'll never be Native enough," I add. "Yeah, it's your identity, but it gets defined or controlled by other people." His words mirror my exact thoughts. What Gran Mary and Grandpa Lorenzo took from me when they meant to exclude my dad. Jamie meets my eyes, and I know that we see each other. We're both silent for the rest of the run. There's a steady breeze off the river and not a cloud in the sky. The cool air feels wonderful and tingly on my arms and legs. My breathing is deep and steady. I feel so good, as if the rays of sunshine aren't landing on me but coming from inside me. Jamie looks over, and I smile back. Then it happens. The zone. My body feels strong, as if I could run like this forever. I'm both in my body and somewhere else. I'm whole. Running is where all the different parts of me fit together perfectly, like a jigsaw puzzle. The zone is where I'm a step removed from the puzzle, so the lines fade and I can see myself clearly. By the time we reach Evercare, we're both panting. Jamie usually gives a thumbs up and jogs the rest of the way home. Today he doesn't make any move, just stands next to me, running his hands through his wet hair, leaving waves from his temples to the back of his neck. "Would you like to meet my grandmother?" I ask impulsively. "Yes," he says, looking surprised but pleased. "I'd like that very much." We pass the front desk, both easing into regular breaths. I feel nervous as we walk into my grandmother's room. I'm not sure why I've decided to invite Jamie along. Not even Lily has been here to see Gran Mary. "Gran Mary, this is my friend Jamie," I say after kissing her cheek. Light bulb off. "Bonjour, madame. C'est un plaisir de vous rencontrer." Jamie kisses her hand, where raised blue veins thread beneath wrinkled skin. He looks across Gran Mary's bed to me. I do a double take. For as much time as I've spent this week with Jamie, I still know so little about him. He spoke French at the party last Saturday, and now again to my grandmother. The line between hockey world and regular world isn't blurred. It's been rendered non-existent by the new guy on my brother's hockey team. Dangerously non-existent. "Who are you, Jamie Johnson?" I ask, perplexed. He looks down, as if embarrassed or uncomfortable. When he meets my eyes, there's something determined in his expression. He speaks French again, this time to me. "Je suis celui qui attend avec impatience demain." I am the one looking forward to tomorrow. Chapter 7. Saturday morning arrives with the same excitement as my former game days. Because of today's powwow, the Soups have an early morning practice. I run by myself at a quicker pace than usual. During Gran Mary's alert moments, I tell her about Jamie's visit and my plans to take Jamie to the tribe's powwow. She doesn't show much of a reaction until I mention my other activity for the day. The news that I'll be pricing textbooks with Lily merits as big a smile as my grandmother can manage. I wrap Gran Mary in a hug and kiss her cheek. It makes both of us feel so happy that I hop around to kiss her other cheek before leaving. Later that morning, Lily drives us to the campus bookstore. "All that pep in your step wouldn't have anything to do with a certain hockey player, would it?" she comments as we walk through the parking lot. "Just excited to check out our textbooks and highlighters," I say. "Yeah, right," Lily says. "The old magic pencils theory." She doesn't share my belief that the perfect pen or pencil can improve my academic performance. We laugh, sharing a good mood that evaporates the second we're staring at the prices of the books required for American literature. "Holy!" Lily's voice carries over to the next aisle. "You ain't kidding," a stranger shouts back. After Lily drops me off, I eat an early lunch. Mom calls from Evercare while I wait for Jamie. "You and Lily headed to the powwow?" she asks. I give a distracted as I pet Harry. "You girls be safe. Call or text me if you make plans for later." "Love you," I say, brushing away the smallest pang of guilt. Protecting Mom from full disclosure isn't the same thing as lying. She won't care that Jamie is just a friend. Once she learns he's new in town, Mom will launch the Inquisition. Who is this boy? Where is he from? Who are his parents? How do we know he's a good person? It's a kindness to us both, really, to spare her from anxieties kicking into high gear. My mother's superpower is turning my ordinary worries into monsters so huge and pervasive that her distress and heartache become almost debilitating. I can protect her from that hurt. Jamie's truck pulls into the driveway. I slide my cell phone into the pocket of my cut-off jeans while jogging over to the passenger side. Hey, buddy, I say, climbing into the truck. Thanks for the ride. After I told Lily everything that happened during yesterday's run with Jamie and at Grand Mary's room, I decided I needed to pull back and emphasize the buddy part of the new friendship. No problem. Thanks for letting me go with you and showing me around, Donis. It's my duty as ambassador. Everything you ever wanted to know about powwows but were too afraid to ask, I say. My back pocket buzzes. It's a text from Lily. She rarely texts because her cell phone plan charges for each one sent or received. Lily, can I please text sex stuff about JJ and you not be mad? Me. This seems V important to you. Lily, VVV important. Me. You have a free pass for filth. Let it fly, my friend. Jamie takes the scenic route to the powwow grounds. The Superior Shores Casino and Resort spans across a massive amount of riverfront. It looks like it should be on the Las Vegas Strip rather than in our small town. Okay, I got a question. Why is the tribe called the Sugar Island Ojibwe tribe, but the casino's on the mainland? The tribe had claim to land along both sides of the river, I say. They settled a land claims case with the federal government 20 years ago and used the money to buy an old factory and dock. 10 years later, they opened the casino and just kept expanding. Per cap started about 5 years ago. Sounds like you have some feelings about the per capita payments. I paused to read the incoming text. Lily, tell JJ ambassadors reward their soup for every goal. Me, you little perv. Sorry, Lily needed something, I say, shoving my phone into my back pocket. Auntie says per cap isn't good or bad. It just kind of amplifies whatever's going on with a person or family. I point for Jamie to turn toward the satellite res. People judge how a few members spend their money and say petty stuff. But there's lots of good things happening too. Families travel, buy a nice car, or put a down payment on a house, go to college. My words instantly echo with the biting tone from Auntie last Friday as she left for the blanket party. Go to college, snag Jamie, live your nice life. My giddy buzz about bringing Jamie to the powwow deflates a bit. This weekend, she and Art are parking their RV on the edge of the powwow grounds by the woods. They'll visit with friends from other tribal communities who travel to powwows across the country and into Canada. The twins will play with cousins and powwow friends. It would be a good time to sit with Auntie and tell her what's still on my mind from the night of the blanket party. Jamie opens his mouth to ask another question. So, buddy, I cut him off. Do you speak other languages besides French? Spanish. What about you? He follows the small directional signs that are on nearly every corner the closer we get to the powwow grounds. French, a little bit of Anishinaabe-Moan, and a bit of Italian. But that's mostly for the swear words. He turned my question back on me, I notice. Oh, and another good thing about per cap? More niche kids play hockey. Figure skating, too. When my dad played, the Firekeepers took up a collection for new skates and gear. He always said there were other guys on Sugar Island who should have been on the best teams with him. Another text buzzes. Sorry. I apologize again, with the explanation, Lily. Lily, tell him you lost your V in an ice shanty. That's so yoop. Me. More yoop than losing it in a deer blind? Lily. I was 12, didn't know better. This time I turn off my phone and set it in the drink holder between our seats. Can I ask what happened? Jamie asks. To your dad, I mean. I blink in surprise that Levi hasn't filled him in yet. Bit of a scandal back then. My mom was 16 when she got pregnant, and my dad was a poor niche from the res on Sugar Island. I'm not sure why I'm telling him this. Maybe because I get to be the one to tell him rather than someone filling him in with juicy gossip. The night my mom told him she was pregnant, they got into an accident on the island and my dad broke both legs. He didn't get the right medical treatment, so his legs didn't heal properly. It was before the casino opened and he couldn't get work anywhere in the UP. It must have been really high unemployment back then, huh? I stare at my buddy. Has Levi really told him nothing? My dad couldn't get a job because my Zuganosh grandpa was the mayor of Sault Ste. Marie and owned one of the biggest construction companies in the UP. And he and Grand Mary didn't care much for Indians, especially ones who knocked up their only daughter. But Jamie lingers at the intersection even after the other cars turn. You're Indian. Yep. I stare out the window when he resumes driving. Anyways, he needed a job, so he followed a cousin to Northern Ontario. I didn't have much time with him before he died in a logging accident when Levi and I were both 7. Donis, that's awful. I'm so sorry. Jamie's compassion is his best trait, I think. Miigwech, I say. You and Levi were both 7? How does that happen? I shrug. I heard it was the whiskey. Jamie waits for me to say more, but I'd rather stay quiet until the complicated feelings, which arise whenever my Fontaine and Firekeeper worlds collide, make sense. And there's no telling how long that might take. The lot of Chimukwa is filled to capacity with powwow overflow. Jamie manages to find a narrow spot along Ice Circle Drive and demonstrates expert parallel parking skills. That's Lily's Jeep. Cell phone in hand, I point to the lone vehicle in a clearing beyond the ice arena. Why does she park all the way out there? Is she worried about getting blocked? No, she's just really bad at parallel parking. I could teach her, Jamie offers. She thinks her method is fine. I smile mischievously. I'll bet if you spoke French when you offered, she'd agree to anything. Jamie blushes, and I feel my giddy buzz return. We follow one of the many clusters of people spilling from the sidewalk into the road. Drumbeats grow louder with each step toward the powwow grounds. A steady breeze and intermittent shade from puffy cumulus clouds save us from frying in the August sun like ants under a magnifying glass. Perfect powwow weather. A tingle runs the length of my spine as I observe a hulking figure squeezed behind the steering wheel of an approaching tribal cop car. Ch. I love you, Lorenza. The only person to call me by my middle name. We dated for 2 months before we started snagging. But once we did, he thought it was pervy to use my first name, which translates to daughter. He dumped me without explanation 1 month later. Stopped calling. Wouldn't look at me in the AP classes we had together. I flip the bird in a smooth pan motion as Officer Keewaydon passes by. So much for staying under the radar. Jamie gives a low chuckle. Not a fan of law enforcement, huh? Nope, I changed the subject. Have you been across the river to Sioux, Ontario? Yeah, my uncle and I went to the mall. I had to get a new suit for game days. I'm guessing yous get searched at the border on your way back to the US? Yeah, Jamie says slowly. Why? I just assumed your uncle is also, visibly niche. Jamie nods, confused, and I continue. Border guards in Canada ask if you're bringing any firearms into their country. On this side, they just want to know about cigarettes, unless you're visibly niche. Then you get the full questioning. And if you're niche and black, like my Uncle Art, you get a gun pulled at you at the border with your niche wife and baby daughters in their car seats. Jamie studies me. Man, Donis, I had no idea that racist bullshit happens here. It makes me angry that your aunt and uncle had to go through such a horrible experience. And that's why I'm not a fan of law enforcement, among other reasons. I look down. My Aunt Teddy rarely crosses the border now, and when she does, she never has Art or the girls with her. As soon as I could drive, she had me shop for them across the river. Not only am I the palest niche, but I have a Canadian birth certificate because I was born in Montreal, so it makes my border crossing less complicated. Jamie's been incredibly sympathetic throughout our conversation, so I expect him to respond the same way now. Instead, he remains quiet and focuses on the birch trees nearby. Do you ever wish you could do something to truly make a difference? He says finally. Solve a problem and improve things for people? Not just for those you know, but something big enough to impact even people you'll never meet? Of course, I say. I want to become a doctor and help people heal and do research that can benefit tribal communities. But for now, I do small things to help. Like go across the river to get my aunt the limpa rye bread she likes from the Swedish bakery. My mom has me bring back over-the-counter medicine that's way cheaper over there. Plus, Tim Hortons coffee for Art. I glance down and pull at a thread on my cutoff jeans. It probably seems insignificant, but I know it makes a difference to my aunt and uncle. Kindness is something that seems small, Donis, but it's like tossing a pebble into a pond and the ripples reach further than you thought. Jamie smiles, and as if confirming his words, the warmth of his kindness ripples through my body. I hope I'm not blushing. You must think it's strange, I begin, eager to change the subject. A foreign country is right next door, and I go for coffee and Sudafed, and Canadians cross the river for gas and milk. But when you live somewhere forever, I suppose everything seems normal. Jamie gives me an odd look, curious and melancholy at the same time. I never live anywhere long enough to find out what normal feels like. He hesitates, like he just admitted something he shouldn't have. Before I can ask him more, we're interrupted by a group of skateboarders rolling past us. Like a flock of birds, they curve their route in unison to avoid a cluster of people in the road ahead. There's a startling pop, pop, pop sound. In the next instant, I am face down on the road. Chapter 8.